Do an honest review of a Tesla Model Y after a little over 5 months of ownership. Got it in late July of 2024. This is now January, very beginning of January 2025. Initially, I was going to get a Honda CR-V touring, sport touring, so the highest level hybrid CR-V that there was. Then I have a motor and a battery that I got to worry about. So I've got two systems in the same car that I have to worry about getting maintenance on. I decided to look at EVs. And I'd always looked at Tesla, the Model 3 and the Model Y, which are the average versions, your sedan and your compact SUV, which is the Y. That you only have one system, which is electrical, and I don't have to worry about stopping at gas stations and whatnot. Price comparison, especially with the deals and the incentives on EVs at the time that I bought, it was important that I was able, it actually ended up being just as expensive, if not a little cheaper than the Honda I was looking at initially. So I went with the EV. I really didn't consider any other EV brands. I settled on the Tesla. That said, range. Range has been honestly fantastic. I have a 60-mile round trip every day to and from work. And then I also do running around for the sports for kids and their events. So I get plenty of range for the driving that I do. And I've taken it on one short, I would consider short road trip, which was 3.5 to 4 hours out, and then another 3.5 to 4 back. I get, on average, when I'm going to and from work, if I'm driving at normal speeds, I get about 278 watt hours per mile. But it's solidly average or slightly above average. The long road trip I took, I started out at 100%, and when I got to my destination, I was at 11%. So I got about 310 miles, just like the EPA suggestion said, on that 89% charge that I used. Performed admirably. It did not have any issues, and I had no problems finding a supercharger at my destination. With the EV, I looked at all of the possible maintenance problems or maintenance that I would have to do over the life. So I don't have oil changes, I don't have spark plugs or timing or any of that, but I do have still have brakes, still have tires, still have coolant, but this coolant is to keep the battery cool. And if you want more about that, I can put notes in the link in the description of the show. You have to change out the filters, just like any other car. And all the Teslas have HEPA filters in them, so that's an extra filter. But you only have to change the filters every year, maybe 2 years, and the HEPA filters every 2 to 3 years. Other than that, I don't know of any other maintenance that really needs to be done. I mean, brakes, but brakes you don't really use in EVs. Maintenance, it's almost a thing of the past. There's very few things that you actually have to do. Overall quality. Well, going from a Civic to a Tesla is different, not really jarring. I like the minimalist look of it. Um, I didn't have any quality issues with my vehicle when I picked it up. I didn't have anything I needed to take it back for. I haven't had any problems with the vehicle as a whole. And this, like I said, going a little over 5 months now, I have had zero issues. Everything's built well. I haven't noticed anything that's like super cheap or flaky or falling apart or anything like that. I will say the paint's a little thin, but that's a known issue across the board with Tesla. Mine's stealth gray. It's actually, well, the Tesla paints are pretty awesome, especially the red like shows up as 3 different colors. The Quicksilver, which is a silver gray color, shows up as 3 different colors depending on the light. My stealth gray shows up It's got a lot of metal flake in it, but you wouldn't see that unless you're up close or it was like super bright and your car was super clean and shiny. They're interesting colors, and I really love stealth gray for mine. It's a very minimalist concept. The seats are nice and comfy. I have kids, so I can literally just wipe things down with baby wipes and it stays clean. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I've had no issues with any of the body panels or the lights or any of the interior fabrics or the steering wheel, screen, nothing. No issues. Build quality for mine. And for most of them, from what I gather, is rock solid. Tire wear. I've got over 9,000 miles in the 5 months that I've been driving it. And my tires are exactly almost like new. Yeah, there's a little off the corners of the tires, depending on how fast I take corners, because I can sometimes take them fast. Wears a little harder on that, but overall tread still perfectly fine. I'm not wearing through them in a year. I'll be lucky if I get. I, I would probably get 2 years out of it the way I drive, maybe more. But yeah, tire quality. Yeah, the tires are a little more expensive, and there are specialty tires for EVs that are made for you know that type of wear and for more silence. Surprisingly, tire wear, not an issue. Warranty. So you've got a typical 4 year, 60,000 mile on most things, and then you've got an 8 year, 120. I think it's 120 or 150,000 mile on the battery. So battery warranty, great. It's going to last longer than the average person keeps their car. I plan on keeping my Tesla unless one of my kids wants to buy it off me when they get old enough. It might be my last car or next to last car. The buying experience is not typical for Tesla as it is with other auto dealers. You can demo drive a Tesla as often as you want. I've demo driven a Cybertruck 3 times. No, twice. I've demo driven a Model X twice. Once I got to keep it overnight because they will do that too. You just have to talk to them about it. And I've demo driven my Model Y. You can demo drive all the time. They honestly don't care. The guys in the showroom, they're just there to answer questions. They're not there to force you to do anything. They're just there to help. Literally just there to help. And the service guys never come out of the service bays unless they need to talk to someone who's waiting on something. But the buying experience is all through the Tesla app. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't actually need to talk to anybody. You just do it through the app. Everything. You upload all the stuff through the app to the site. It's pretty easy. I did not have any problems doing it. I think I was done after getting all the paperwork together. It took me a total of maybe 2 hours. And I was sitting in the comfort of my own home doing it on my phone. Experience is great. The pickup experience was a little different. If you go with the Tesla pickup through the app, it's a little confusing. When I did it, it told me that I didn't need to talk to anybody. I just needed to go to the parking lot at the showroom. And as soon as I hit a button, it would start flashing the lights on the car that I bought. And then I was to check it and make sure the VIN matched the one that I was assigned, and I could leave. That's not how it turned out. So I actually couldn't find mine, and I had to go into the showroom. And my showroom actually said, if you're picking up, scan this. And it had a online Microsoft form to fill out that would send it to whoever is the lead of the showroom that day. They would get it and know you were there waiting. I still had to wait on them to finish doing the detail on mine. They were really friendly. I said, can I look it over before I accept it? And they're like, yeah, go for it. I heard that you weren't able to do that initially. It was a fairly painless process. That was my buying a pickup experience. Charging. I went ahead and bought the mobile charger. The mobile charger, if you plug it into a regular 110, 120 outlet, normal wall socket, it's slow. But again, if you don't use your car all the time, if you're not going, you know, 60 miles round trip every day, if you're not doing, cross country, the mobile charger, if you're driving 10 miles a day, will be fine for you. You don't have to have anything special. Just get the mobile charger, plug it into your regular outlet, and just let it charge whenever you're not driving it. You should only charge to 80% whenever you're charging. That should be your full percentage, unless you're going on a road trip. Then you can charge it to 100, and then you get more range off the bat. It's really not that bad. You're so used to filling up your car and driving it to a quarter of a tank. You're just resetting your expectations at this point with 80% a full tank, unless you need a super full tank. Okay, so I'm going to get 250 miles of range on 80% if I drive it down to 10%, which is as low as you ever want to go. You don't want to drive, just like a gas car, you don't drive it down to empty. It's bad for a gas car. It's bad for an EV. The battery does not like that. And if you keep doing it, it's going to degrade the battery faster. So I have experience with the mobile charger, the one you can plug in at home. I have a level 2 charger that I had installed. The one that will charge you to 80% in about 4.5 hours. I love it. I also do. But before I got that installed, because I was driving more than the mobile charger could handle for a day, I was going to a supercharger every couple, I think every 3 or 4 days. The closest supercharger was at a Bass Pro about 20 minutes from my house. Honestly, not that big a deal. Yes, it was more expensive than charging at home. I mean, that's how they make their money from their superchargers. They charge more for electricity. Still not as expensive as buying gas. And I spent 15 minutes at a supercharger. And I would take my kids and we play video games because the car comes with video games. It was not a big deal. I will say that my level 2 charger, I bought the charger straight from Tesla. It's been a dream. It connects to your Tesla app too, and you can set it to charge for certain amounts of time at any time during the day or all the time if you're plugged in. It's amazing. You can set this in your car. You set the charge percentage. It's so easy. Driving experience. Let's go there. It's fun. It's fun to drive. It's the best car I've ever driven. The steering, like you barely have to move. It's really tight. It doesn't have any play in it. It doesn't F around. You turn that wheel, you're going to turn. And one pedal driving is a life-changing experience. I hardly ever have to use the brake pedal because when you press on the accelerator, you're going. When you let out the accelerator, it starts stopping you automatically. It uses the motor to slow you down, which also helps regenerate electricity. So it's called regenerative braking, and it's amazing. The only time I ever have to use the brake is if I'm going too fast when I'm coming up to a light and it changes or someone stops suddenly. The car probably could do it, but I'm not comfortable with that yet. So I hardly ever use the brake. It really is. It's life changing. You're not shifting your foot over all the time. Controls of the car are all on a screen, except for a few things on the stalks, which newer cars don't even have anymore. They don't have like turn signal stalks, or on my car, it's a drive stalk. It's all on the steering wheel. But I mean, it's got auto wipers. It's got normal car features that you're used to in most average cars now, but everything is controlled by the screen. And there's no vents like you manually change and move up and down. Most of the other manufacturers still have those. I mean, even the new players like Rivian and Lucid have physical controls for the vents. In Tesla, it's all software driven, and it's all in the dashboard. You can't see it, you can't touch it. You can feel the air coming out, and it comes out in two spots on the facing the driver and facing the passenger. And then you can also drag your fingers across, and it'll split it so that it's going two ways. You go up and you go down. I think it's great and really adds to the minimalist feels because you don't have all the vent and the grating and all that stuff all over your dash. You open the glove box. There's no handle, no latch. It's all software driven. So you open the glove box, it releases and opens on its own. I wish it was powered close, but you had to push it back in. That's nitpicking, honestly. But you can also put a pin, like a 4-digit or 6-digit or whatever pin on your glove box so that it's locked. It's a locked glove box. There's no physical way unless they pry it open to access it. Outside of that, there's a frunk. A lot of people don't realize there are frunks, like front trunks. That's what a frunk is. So in the front of my Tesla, I can pop the hood, and there's a well in there about 1.5 feet deep and maybe about 2.5, 3 foot wide. It's kind of oval shaped. It's not an actual circle, um, but you can put stuff in there. It is not climate controlled, so anything you put out there, it's either going to get cold or hot depending on the weather. So the frunk is you have to open it from either your app on the phone or the screen in the car. Handling, performance, it handles like a dream. It really does. And it's a little bumpy. It's still softer than my Civic was. It steers, it handles, and it's got go. It will get up and move. With an EV, there is no hesitation, like zero. When you press that gas, you're going. And if you press it too hard, you're going fast. I highly advise people to go out and demo drive EVs anyway, because it's fun. It's like going out and demo driving a sports car. They don't usually let you do that. But you get into an EV, it's like driving in a sports car in that aspect because of that instant torque. The handling is amazing. It takes curves. It'll take everything you throw at it. I've had full self-driving 3 times. They've given it to me free. I'm on my 3rd free trial. They give it to you for a month for free when you buy a vehicle. Unless they're running a promo where you can get it for longer. Some people were getting it for 3 months, and it cost $8,000. Was it worth $8,000 when I got my car? No, it decidedly was not worth $8,000. The second time they gave it to me, which was in the end of October, it was better, not worth $8,000. And let me tell you, full self-driving, it'll drive you in its current form from my driveway. I can start it. As long as I'm in drive, I start full self-driving, the pull of a stalk down. That's all you got to do as long as you got it set in your screens. And it drives me from my driveway where I am parked all the way to work. 30 miles through my city, on state roads, on highways, on interstates. It takes all the off ramps. And it stops at every stoplight. It knows how to pass people depending on what aggressive driving mode, whether it's chill or hurry. I started driving in chill. It would let it would err on the side of caution way too much for me. So I changed it to hurry, and it drives a lot more aggressively, but a lot closer to a little more aggressive than I would naturally drive, but not so much that it bothers me. Um, but yeah, it'll drive you end to end, and they're working on making it park at your destination. It has self parking separate. If you have a clearly delineated lined parking space and you have full self driving, once you get to your destination, it'll highlight all the parking spaces on your screen, and you can touch the screen, select that parking space that you want to park in, and then it says start auto park. You take your hands off the wheel and it'll back you in. That's all it does. It doesn't pull forward in that I know of yet, but they're working on that too. So it's a manual start of the auto parking feature, but they're going to add it to the end of full self-driving routes. So, and you'll be able, they're also adding, I'll tell you, but don't buy stuff based on future promises. That's all I'm going to say. Uh, their plan is to be able to park in your garage, auto park in your driveway, and at your destination. So end-to-end driving, that's pretty amazing in my opinion. And this third iteration, the newest 13.2.1 or whatever it is, it's I have not had to intervene except for once. And the only reason I had to intervene in it was because it was going to take me out of my work parking lot when I was going to go home. It was going to take me to a left-hand turn that was unprotected. When if you go a street one block down, there's a stoplight that it can take a protected left turn at. So that's just it could have handled it, but I didn't want to take the unprotected left turn because I knew the roads and I know how the drivers are there. I, it's not that I don't trust the car. I don't trust the people. So yeah. Um, what else? Handling full self-driving. Oh, there's also the summon feature. It's like a remote control for your car with through your app. You can move it forward and backwards manually, or you can if you're far enough away and you're in a parking lot. It did not do this at my house. Um, you can have it come to you. It'll navigate just like it's on full self-driving going through the streets, but it's in a parking lot. You'll navigate any roads that are in between as long as you're within a certain distance. There's like a radius that it'll cover. And it shows you that in the app, but I haven't really played with that. The first time I ever played with it was on the second trial. My parking lot at work only has one way out. So it decided instead of going the way that it could see that you could get out, it turned right to where there's a curb. There's no way out. And it had super decision paralysis. It was like it was honestly pretty funny. Um, but that kind of put me off full self-driving after that decision paralysis because it made me think it was a little more flawed than it was acting overall. But this newest version, not an issue getting out of the parking lot. It made all the right decisions except for that one unprotected left turn that I wasn't comfortable with. Um, but I broke it. I broke that. So that full self driving where I didn't like that, I broke it before it turned and kept going down to the other street. I started again and it took me all the way home. No issues. Interstate driving, passing people, getting over people who are zooming up on your butt. I mean, it was pretty amazing. I almost think it's worth $8,000. Um, kind of wish I had paid for it, but at the same time, I can pay for it month by month too. It's $99 a month. If I'm going on a road trip, I'm definitely gonna buy it for a month. But until I can somehow make an extra $8,000, which I don't see that happening anytime soon, uh, it's not going to be. Oh, and full self driving sticks with the car, not the person. So if you buy a new Tesla, you have to buy full self driving again. That's the only huge negative to me. I think it should go with a person. I mean, it's a line in a database. It's not that hard. But anyway, software updates, you get them for free and they're over the air. So if there's a recall that is not hardware based, it's all software based, like, the way emergency lights come on or display stuff that uh, the federal government says needs to be done, that all gets done via software. Like 90% of the recalls are done through software, and we get them for free as soon as they're available. They roll them out in phases so that they're not trying to send tons of data across the network to these millions of vehicles that are out there at the same time. So if you don't get it like the first day it's out, it's not that big a deal. You'll get it, just a matter of time. And if it's a super important recall, you'll get it a lot faster. Kind of a long video with a lot of rambling. But this has been my honest assessment of my Tesla Model Y after a little over 5 months and 9,000 miles on my vehicle. I love it. It's honestly the best vehicle, I think I said this earlier, that I've ever driven. It's comfortable. It's easy to use. I can charge at home. I don't have to go to a gas station unless I want to pick up some food. I, I drove it to the gas station the other day so I could pick up a breakfast pizza for the family. That's the only reason that car has been to a gas station is for food. Um, Other than that, I I can't I am a Tesla fanboy to a degree. I also like their power products, which most people don't realize there's a lot of power products like the but anyway, you can look up Tesla power products on your own. And I'll probably do a video on them sometime. But overall, I am extremely happy with my purchase. It is hands down the best car I've had. Drives the best, is just as expensive as a Honda CR-V hybrid sport touring, literally. So take that as you will. They're not, yes, there are super expensive EVs, especially when they first come out, like Cybertruck. While it's not super popular, they do try and make every auto manufacturer does this. They make their money off of people who want it the most to begin with. So they keep the prices high, and then when demand goes down, they lower the price to get the demand back up. It's just that's economics and auto dealers. But my experience with my Tesla has been amazing. I have had zero issues. Um, I understand there are other manufacturers that have similar ways of doing things, like Rivian and I think Lucid. So it's well worth your time. Go demo drive something. Even if you don't like it, you will have experienced it. And that way you can put all of the media, positive and negative hype, to rest and just do what you want to do. EVs aren't going to be for everybody. That's fine. I personally, as a late age Gen Xer, a boomer's kid, really enjoy it. And my family is going to convert to all electric. My kids are sold on it. My oldest already has one. My wife is the only person in my immediate family uh, that does not have one. She's still driving a minivan, but we also have school age children. So we don't know when we're going to convert that over to a different vehicle. But we won't be keeping the van forever. So the next one will be an EV. Don't know what kind yet, but I like my Tesla Model Y. 2024 all-wheel drive, long range. Um, it has been fantastic to me. Um, that's it. Maybe I'll put some more on later, but this is my honest review from a boomer's kid about my EV.